Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Upijana Vallasya Girevaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girevaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Hare Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupāda, 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 Jaya Prabhupāda. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhājakacharya Ashtotarashatasi Sīmāt Abhaya Charana Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupāda ki Jayanta Lila Pravistam Vishnupada Ashtotarashatasi Sīmāt Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Maharaj Thakur Prabhupāda ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामकुंद राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर धाम की गंगामाई की जमुनामाई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की समवेत भक्तवृंद की श्री युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की बृहत् मृदंग की ācarantaṁ श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की श्री श्री गौरनिताय की. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. You gave me the previous verse. Yeah, that's what you told me.
Yes, yes.
It's 41 or 42?
No, 40.
Oh, they just changed it. Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 69th chapter, text number 41. I feel very fortunate to be here in Sri Vrindavan Dham at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar, Shri Shri Gaurnitai, and in the presence of all their devotees. Now, as I will mention in this verse, the importance of the devotees. Because if you don't have the favor of the devotees, as Śrīla Prabhupāda said one time, that actually, he says, a very beautiful part of the purport of 9:11, Bhagavad Gita, he says, quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami, that if one worships the deity very nicely, but does not honor the Paramatma within the heart of every living entity, then the deity worship will have no meaning. Just have some meaning, obviously. It's Kṛṣṇa, you're doing something, but it won't have so much benefit. So we always have to remember the importance of serving the Vaishnavas. So, read the verse. Śrī-śuka uvāca ācarantaṁ sad-dharmān pāvanān gṛha-medhinām tameva sarva-geheṣu santam ekaṁ dadarśa śrī-śuka uvāca ācarantaṁ sad-dharmān pāvanān gṛha-medhinām tameva sarva-geheṣu santam ekaṁ dadarśa śrī-śuka uvāca ācarantaṁ sad-dharmān pāvanān gṛha-medhinām tameva sarva-geheṣu santam ekaṁ dadarśa dadarśa tameva sarva-geheṣu santameva dadarśa uvāca sarvam Vaishnavi. Śrī-śuka uvāca dadarśa sarvam pāvanān gṛha-medhinām Śrī-śuka uvāca. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, Iti, thus, ācarantam, performing, sat, spiritual, dharmān, the principles of religion, pāvanān, purifying, gṛha-medhinām, for householders, tam, him, eva, indeed, sarva, in all, geheṣu, the palaces, santam, present, ekam, in one form, dadarśa, he saw. Translation and purport by the servants of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, thus in every palace Nārada saw the Lord in his same personal form, executing the transcendental principles of religion that purify those engaged in household affairs. So, please repeat. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, thus in every palace, Nārada saw the Lord in his same personal form, executing the transcendental principles of religion that purify those engaged in household affairs. Purport. In this verse, Śukadeva Gosvāmī repeats what the Lord has himself explained. As Śrīla Prabhupāda writes in Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was engaged in his so-called household affairs in order to teach people how one can sanctify one's household life, although he may be attached to the imprisonment of material existence. Actually, one is obliged to continue the term of material existence because of household life. But the Lord, being very kind upon householders, demonstrated the path of sanctifying ordinary household life. Because Kṛṣṇa is the center of all activities, a Kṛṣṇa conscious householder a Kṛṣṇa conscious householder's life is transcendental to Vedic injunctions and is automatically satisfied. As stated in text 2 of this chapter, all the Lord's activities in many palaces were performed by the Lord's single spiritual form, ekam bhapishu, which manifested in many places at once. This vision was revealed to Nārada because of his desire to see it, and the Lord desired to show it to him. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that other residents of Dwarka could see Kṛṣṇa only in the particular part of the city they themselves occupied, and not anywhere else, even if they would sometimes go to another precinct on some business. Thus, the Lord gave a special view of his pastimes to his beloved devotee, Nārada Muni. Om Jnana-timirandasya Garanjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyati Rishatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse has many interesting aspects. First, ācarantaṁ. Kṛṣṇa is giving the example. Achar, no? Prachar and achar. Śrīla Prabhupāda said, kutinati or duplicity means when achar and prachar are different. The prachar is very elevated and the achar is not so elevated. Śrīla Prabhupāda called this vulture vision. That the vulture is flying very high, like big philosophy, but he's looking down at something rotten. No. So, if we speak Kṛṣṇa consciousness, but we're thinking, let me enjoy this material world, or let me utilize Kṛṣṇa's energy, and let me get some reputation, as one leader here in India told me a few days ago, that you become temple president and you're set up for life. No. So, if we think that our service is meant to give us some material benefit, no. So Kṛṣṇa himself, as Kṛṣṇa says in Bhagavad Gita that Yadyat acharati shreshtas tatta devetaro janaha. That I must, whatever a great person does, everyone else, sayat pramanam kurute. They set the example, and lokas tad anuvartate, and others will follow. And therefore he says that partasti kartavyam. Actually, trisha lokeshu kinchana. I don't have anything to do within these three worlds. Nothing to do. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. I don't gain anything and I don't want anything. No. But varta cha eva karmana. That I must show the proper way. If I don't do that, then I will be utsideyur. I will be the cause of destruction. Now, Krishna is almost saying like, I could acquire some karma. But he says, no, what will happen is sankarasya, that there will be unwanted population and the whole world will be ruined. So now we can see where the whole world is not following Krishna. And just look at the condition of society, where social media has become Sri Guru. And what the Guru says is subject to that, subject to social media. So, we can see if it's valid what he's saying, if it agrees with social media. So, modern Shastra has become Shastra, that which will punish the living entities, because of their foolishness. So Krishna, he has nothing to do. He says that Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate in the Upanishads. He has absolutely nothing to do. Krishna is the eternal retired person. Everyone looks forward to retirement. I can not have anything to do. But the problem is in their retirement, they can't eat, they can't sleep properly, they can't walk properly, they can't think properly. Some of us are getting there. Already start to forget names. Then as long as you can remember Krishna's name, that's the important thing. Even if you can't remember your name, if you can remember Krishna's name. But Krishna, he's eternally Kishore, eternally enjoying. Natat shamas cha bhikaritas titishyate. No one can equal him, no one can even come close, except for Balaram. He's a good second expansion of Krishna. Parasya shaktir vividhaiva shuyate. And how can he not do anything if he's the creator, if he is manifesting everything? Because it's all done by his energy, swabhaviki ganabala kriyacha, and is done automatically. He doesn't have to direct those energies. They work automatically. His ladini shakti, his jnana shakti, his kriya shakti, all these energies are working to do everything so that Krishna remains free from any responsibility. But in Bhagavad Gita he says, I accept that responsibility. And that's what this verse is about. That's what this chapter is about. Of course, this chapter, if we go to the next word, sad-dharmān, eternal duty. Sad-dharma means eternal duty or eternal responsibility. So Śrīla Gosvāmī gives two meanings to that. One is, as it says here, pāvanān, that Krishna is purifying the householders by giving the example of how householders should live. Of course, don't do everything that Krishna did. Don't marry 16,000 wives. Better if you can not even marry one wife. Just like Śrīla Prabhupāda said, that one devotee asked Śrīla Prabhupāda, Prabhupada, you said every man should be a brahmachari and every woman should be married. So how will that happen? It's a little difficult. And Prabhupada said, Krishna is the supreme mystic. Krishna is the supreme mystic. So most people become householders. And but here, Krishna shows the ideal householder. Nārada Muni had some doubt. How can Krishna have 16,000 palaces and 16,000 wives and keep them all happy? No. I mean, 16,000 wives, 300, take for 50 years to come, if you have spent, one day in each, within each palace, then every 50 years you would be coming back to the same. I mean, Krishna would have been, if you take out the first 11 years and 125, he would have made the rounds twice. So Nārada Muni was wondering, how is this happening? And this whole chapter is beautifully describing how not only Krishna is, one of our Acharya's comments, it's not like Sabari Muni. Sabari Muni expanded himself into so many 50 forms, but they were all doing the same thing. Or yogis can expand up to 7 forms, but they're all doing the same, sitting down and meditating. So Nārada Muni was thinking, okay, so I see that, I understand he can expand, but will he be doing the same thing? Will it be a facsimile in every palace of Krishna doing that? No. He saw Krishna in so many different things, affectionately caring for his children, affectionately dealing with his wife, playing dice with Uddhava, practicing for, Of course, Krishna doesn't need to practice, but he shows the Kshatriyas. He's also giving an example for the Kshatriyas. If you want to win, don't end up like Balaram, that you're not so expert, and then you end up with problems. Of course, with Balaram was no problem. He just killed the opponent, if he didn't win, no problem. So many wonderful things. And then at the same time, in different places, he's riding on a horse, he's practicing sword fighting, he's doing all these different things. He's instructing in the assembly, all these things simultaneously. This is inconceivable. Just like in semi-modern society, everyone glorified Napoleon because he could dictate 5 letters at the same time. He would just have 5 secretaries and be dictating 5 different letters, practically, one at the same time, speaking to different. But Krishna has certainly surpassed all the Napoleons and all the most intelligent people in this world. As Śrīla Prabhupāda said, Krishna is not interested, speaking about the yogis, in seeing some gymnastics. Because actually, in the original form of yoga, there was one asana, Padmasana. Because the whole purpose of asana was not to do exercises or stretches, as it has become nowadays. The whole purpose was to slow down the functions and balance the airs in the body so that one could go to the different stages of yoga. So Krishna is not interested in that. Krishna is not interested in seeing someone's exposition, a knowledgeable exposition. He's shown that. He's given the most knowledgeable exposition. But just like in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants to hear the exposition of his devotee. He wants to hear Ramananda Rai. He wants to hear his devotees. He wants to hear and be instructed by Namacharya Haridas Thakur in the chanting of the holy name. He introduced himself many times. I'm just a Mayavad sannyasi. What do I know? What can I do? What do I know about the holy name? Go to, even when Gadadhar said, I have forgotten some parts of the Gayatri mantra. Can you please give it to me? No. You must get it from your guru. No. Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He's coming soon. You can get your Gayatri again. So Krishna is the original humble person. Because if we are requested to be humble, where did it come from? Aham savasya pabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from Krishna. He's the source of everything. So he gives us that humility. And he gives us tolerance. Who can be more tolerant than Krishna? Living within the heart of every living entity through millions and millions of lifetimes. Waiting for them to wake up and understand the real purpose of life. Who can be more respectful to all the living beings than always accompanying them? Even when they're in lizard bodies or snake bodies, he accompanies them. So merciful. And one could say, yes, but Manina, Krishna is saying, glorify me. No, but Krishna is saying that for the benefit of the living entity. Krishna's real desire, as Śrīla Prabhupāda said again and again and again, his real desire is to become subordinate to his devotee. Yat prayaso chita chitopyasti chaistri lokyam. That even though Krishna is unconquerable within the three worlds, Krishna wants to be conquered by his devotee. In the 5th canto, it's said that the Lord can very easily give liberation to anyone, but to give bhakti, that's different. And he doesn't even give bhakti. He gives bhakti through his devotees. Because otherwise he would be accused of being partial. Samoham sarvabhuteshu yastu china priyaha. That I am equal to everyone. I don't favor anyone, nor do I. But ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya. But if someone worships me, that seems like partiality. No, because anyone can do it. No. Anyone can do it. Patram pushpam balam toyam yome bhakta. What do you need? A leaf, a flower, no, some water. No. Even if you live in the desert, you can find well, there are some deserts where there's really no water and no plants. And so if you live there, you can't live there because you have to at least live near an oasis where there's some water and stuff. Otherwise, I remember one time I was on book distribution and we were in Arizona, and there's one part of New Mexico, and one part of the New Mexico desert there, it's just sand, called the sand dunes, and nothing but rocks and sand. So we stopped at a petrol station, and I was looking at this place, said, like, what a place, like, how miserable. And the man said, yes, it's very beautiful when the sun sets on the rocks in the evening. He was thinking, Boma idyadi, as the Bhagavatam says, my place of birth is very worshipable. And so my place of residence, of course, if your place of residence happens to be Vrindavan, that is very beautiful. And many of you are very fortunate to be residents of this most fortunate place. So one meaning of sad-dharmān, give an example to the grihastas. Give them some hope, because here it says something very amazing. Gṛha-medhinām. That we don't want them to be gṛha-medhi, but we want them to be the real purpose of gṛha-medhi. Apply your intelligence to understand how to utilize this gṛha. Not that you use all your intelligence to make your gṛha very nice, for sense gratification. But you use your intelligence to understand, as Śrīla Prabhupāda says here in his part of the purport, that attached to the imprisonment of material desires, material existence. Imprisonment, very interesting. Where then he says, once continue the term of, like it's a sentence. I've been sentenced to stay in the samsara. So I was just thinking when I read that of Haridas Thakur, when he was imprisoned, by the Nawab, but the Qazi, actually, the Nawab didn't want to do it. The Nawab could see he's a very special holy man, even though he was a Muslim. Just like the Nawab, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived in Ramakeli, he had this big kirtan, and the Nawab sent his minister. His minister was a devotee. First he sent the sheriff, the general, whatever he was, and he said, yes, there's some big gathering is going on. Then he sent his minister, but his minister was a devotee. So he saw the big kirtan, and he thought, this Nawab is very cruel. He destroys temples. So, no, it's just some mendicants passing by, nothing to... But the Nawab said, no, you are wrong. He is Allah. No. He said, he has so many servants, and I have many servants. I pay them. He's not paying them. No. Only Allah could do this. And therefore I order that anyone who tries to stop this Sankirtan movement, I will personally deal with them. No. We need some leaders like that nowadays in our world. No. Anyone who tries to stop the Sankirtan movement, they will immediately go to jail. No. And then we could really have some wonderful harinams, and book distribution. But we do it anyway, in spite of them. In spite of them. So anyway, Haridas Thakur was imprisoned, and he was chanting the holy name. The Qazi was thinking, now he'll suffer. But then the Qazi got the notification, everyone is happy. He's chanting and everyone's becoming happy in the prison. But then Haridas says something very disturbing to the other prisoners. They said, please, because he was going to leave. The Qazi said, this is not working, I have to do something more severe. So as he was getting ready to leave, they said, please bless us, please give us a blessing. He said, I give you the blessing that you will always stay where you are now. No, in the prison, we were thinking you'd bless us to get out of here. And so they were bewildered, and Haridas smiled. He said, I mean where your consciousness is now, chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. In whatever circumstance you are, whether you're in the prison or in home or anywhere, then by chanting this holy name and by being Kṛṣṇa conscious, you will be in bliss. Doesn't matter. Dukeshvanudvignamana sukeshu vigatas priyaha vita ragavaya krodha sitibhemuni uchate. That if one can tolerate distress and tolerate happiness, sometimes we think tolerate happiness, I love happiness. But that happiness that comes and goes, chapala sukha, that type of happiness is not real happiness. Real happiness is anandam mudi vardhanam, that pratipanam purnamidas vadhanam, that expands unlimitedly and at every step, meaning every step means in any circumstance in life, it will always increase. It will always provide you with nectar. And we can test. There are many different tests that we can make about our Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And one of them is, is my bliss expanding in every circumstance? Yes, when the weather's nice, when everything's going my way, when I have good health, then yeah, I'm very happy. But when just the opposite is there, like this time of year, not so pleasant outside at 3 in the morning, and so many other, but it's nice if you're in Vrindavan. But so many circumstances may go against us. But the Bhagavatam tells us, Tatenukam samsusamikṣamana, one should patiently await the mercy of the Lord in whatever form it comes. So gives the example. So because in this age of Kali Yuga, especially in the Western world, where Śrīla Prabhupāda took his mission to plant the seeds of the mission and then brought it back to India. So he, and even before that, he gave the example. He was a grihasta. He was responsible. Even though his wife and children were not very cooperative in what he wanted to do, which was fulfill the order of his spiritual master by translating Bhagavad Gita, by preaching Krishna consciousness, they were not so helpful. No. But he tolerated. And then, when time for his initiation, he waited 11 years. Nowadays we see people hankering for initiation after 6 months, 1 year. But if they're living outside, I mean, Śrīla Prabhupada was a congregational devotee. No, he wasn't an ashram devotee, he was a congregational devotee in the Gaudiya Math. And he waited 11 years. He didn't have to wait even 1 second. But he waited to give this example. First, be qualified. Be qualified to receive the mercy. And qualified, it's very interesting that in Madhya Lila, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining to Sanatana Gosvāmī about the process of initiation, Śrīla Prabhupada states in there that what are the qualifications? One must be completely free from the bodily concept of life. If that were our requirement, most of us would still be uninitiated. And so the mercy, this is the mercy of a devotee like Śrīla Prabhupada. Also in the Gaudiya Math, where Śrīla Prabhupada came from, he was raised in Gaudiya Math. The rule is you can't chant japa until you're initiated. But Prabhupada gave the chanting of japa to everyone from the very beginning. So Śrīla Prabhupada extended the mercy beyond the rules and regulations that had been previously imposed. Such mercy is very special. So we have to take advantage of it. Just like chanting. Sometimes even maybe the majority of devotees think, I just have to chant 16 rounds, and do some service, maybe on Sunday or something. And then I go on with my life, enjoy my family, enjoy, No. One devotee asked Śrīla Prabhupāda, how can I chant 16 rounds with quality? And Śrīla Prabhupāda responded, 16 rounds means no quality. It means minimum. You only chant 16 rounds if you're so busy. If you're so busy in devotional service that you don't have time to chant more because there's so much to do for Kṛṣṇa, because we have to give the mercy of the holy name to everyone by the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jari Dagatarika, Kṛṣṇa Vadesha Maragyaya Guru Hanyatara Desh. That's his order. We have to do this. Atevami agya dilun sabakari jahantahan prema pala deha jari dari. I order every person within the universe, you must distribute this Kṛṣṇa consciousness to everyone, everywhere. The order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we must do it, and therefore maybe we can only chant 16 rounds or 20 rounds. But if you have the opportunity, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, anything less than 64 rounds is fallen. So how do we complete our 64 rounds? By expanding the chanting in the form of devotional service meant to bless all of the living entities. And so this is another meaning of sad-dharmān, that Kṛṣṇa was performing sad-dharmān by worshipping his devotee. A few verses back, Nārada Muni is feeling very distraught that Kṛṣṇa washed my feet. Kṛṣṇa bowed down to me. Kṛṣṇa put the water from my feet on his head. But Kṛṣṇa said to him, oh, it's okay. I'm teaching everyone that one must worship the devotee. Kṛṣṇa worships Sudam Brahman. No. So this is sad-dharmān. Kṛṣṇa is teaching household dharma and sad-dharma, worshiping the devotees of the Lord. Such an important thing. So, and pāvanān, he's purifying everyone. Tam eva sarva-geheṣu. And therefore, he did all these extraordinary activities in all of his different palaces. And the most important part of this verse, santam ekam dadarśa. Nārada Muni had the privilege, opportunity, mercy to see this. Idam te bapu nata gopala balam. Satyavrata Muni says that Sadame manasya virastam kim anyai. Kim anyai. What else is there if you can actually see the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And by the mercy of Śrīla Prabhupāda and our acharyas, we can see him every day in his most beautiful, extraordinary uvāca form, so expert dressing, Kṛṣṇa. So beautiful. Every time I come here, of course, in any temple, but especially here, the beauty of Kṛṣṇa's dressing, by the mercy of his devotee, he allows them to do it. He could do it better, but he allows them to do it. And it's so beautiful because they're being empowered by Kṛṣṇa. They're empowered. No one could dress the deity like that without being empowered. It's not some artistic creation. It is Kṛṣṇa guiding the devotee from within the heart. How I want to be. This is how I want to be. Therefore, you please satisfy me. And this is the essence of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So, and then I just want to, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that anyone else in Dwarka, they could only see Kṛṣṇa in that particular palace. If Rukmini goes to the palace of Satyabhama, she's with Kṛṣṇa, and when she goes to Satyabhama's palace, Kṛṣṇa will not be there. Even though he's there, she won't see him. If someone sees Kṛṣṇa in the assembly hall, and they go to a palace, they won't see Kṛṣṇa. They think, I left Kṛṣṇa in the assembly hall. But Nārada Muni, he had the opportunity to see Kṛṣṇa everywhere. So Jiva Gosvāmī refers us back to the 9th chapter of the 1st canto, where Bhishmadev, beginning with verse 30, he sees Kṛṣṇa, and this is the perfection of my life. And he said, then he explains through 12 different verses the different visions of Kṛṣṇa that he has, according to all the experiences that he went through with Kṛṣṇa. And of all those experiences, of all those visions, he most relishes the vision in verse 39. He relishes the vision of Kṛṣṇa holding the chariot wheel in his hand, Ratangapani, holding that chariot wheel in his hand, because he said, Kṛṣṇa satisfied my desire. I wanted him to break his promise. I wanted to leave this world in my rasa. This is my rasa. I'm fighting. And if I'm going to fight, let me fight with Kṛṣṇa and be killed by him. By his effort. And then he said, and the most beautiful vision, Kṛṣṇa was coming at me. I was shooting arrows at him. His body was covered with blood. And Śrīla Prabhupāda said, those arrows were just like the touches of a lover, the embraces of a lover. Imagine how Kṛṣṇa is satisfying his devotee. You're a Kshatriya. You want to shoot arrows and see blood? Okay, I will allow you to do that. But for me, those arrows are just like flowers being thrown by the loving sentiment of my devotee. And therefore, when when Kavi, one of the Yogendras, was speaking to Maharaj Nimi, he referred to this incident. He said, Shrinvan Subhadrani Ratangapane. No, that if one can hear the most auspicious activities of Ratangapane, of this particular form of the Lord, who will even break his own promise to satisfy his devotee, then Jayanti, Jayani Karmani, Chayani Loke. Then these wonderful activities which inundate the whole three worlds with unlimited nectar of his birth, his transcendental different births, not just one, but many births and many activities. No. And then Gitani Namani Chatad Artakani. And when one is so fortunate to recite these verses and remember these wonderful names of Kṛṣṇa in all of his unlimited activities, then Gayan Bilaj Ho Vicharet Asangaha. Then this chanting, this recitation of the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes away all impediments, bilajo, vicharet, and one should simply wander without any attachment to the material energy and glorify Kṛṣṇa. So this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the great fortune. Kṛṣṇa is so merciful that he gave this special mercy to Nārada Muni that he could see all these things. Just like, I just wanted to mention something in one of the previous verses. It says, by the Lord's Yoga Maya, Nārada Muni could see this. One time Nārada Muni had a doubt, and he came to Kṛṣṇa, and he said, I want to see your Mahamaya. And Kṛṣṇa said, no, you don't want to see that. Yes, I want to see it. So, he's my devotee, he's requesting me. No. So, okay, I will show you. So they were on the bank of a lake, and then Kṛṣṇa said, go take your bath and I'll show you. So he went into the water, and then when he came out of the water, he was drowning, and he was calling for help. The shore of the lake was very far away, but it didn't look like the lake, it looked like the ocean. And then he saw this little figure, a king, and he was calling out, and the king ran into the water and pulled him out. And when he came out of the water, he wasn't Nārada, he was Nāradi. He was a woman. He couldn't he was bewildered. But then he saw this beautiful king, and he became attracted. And the king said, will you be my wife? He said, yes. They got married. They had 50 children. No. And then, when the king, as he was very happy, enjoying life, enjoying the palace, Nāradi. No. And then, at one point, the king was getting older, so he said, I will divide up my kingdom amongst all my sons. And then what happened? The sons all became envious of one another. I should have gotten more. I'm more qualified. They all began to fight, and they killed one another. All 50 of them, just like the Yadu dynasty. And Nārada was lamenting, how can God be so cruel? How can he cause this misery? And then a Brahmin came and preached to her about Kṛṣṇa consciousness and destiny, and she became very satisfied. He said, now you can go take your bath. That Brahmin was Kṛṣṇa. So he went into the lake to take his bath. She went in, and she came out of the lake. Nārada Muni came up to Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa said, oh, did you see something? My Lord, you're right. I don't want to see your material energy. You're right. You're always right. No. So this is in Skanda Purana, beautiful understanding. We should not be anxious to see this material energy because we've already seen enough, most of us. No? Some of us have seen too much. No? And now we're trying to take refuge in Kṛṣṇa, but these things keep popping into our head. No? Material enjoyment, material nature is so nice. No? I was just thinking today as I saw the deities, whatever immense beauty that there might be anywhere in this material world, sometimes I know when I open the internet, you get these little images, and sometimes it shows like the most beautiful place in the world, waterfalls and islands coming straight up out of the ocean. But then you see Krishna Balaram and Radha Shama Sundar and Gornitai, and they surpass this beauty. It's not even beauty compared to what we have the great fortune of seeing every day by the Lord's mercy. So we're so happy that Kṛṣṇa takes the responsibility of, even though he doesn't have to, he has nothing to do in the three worlds, but he takes that responsibility for the pleasure of his devotees. So stop here. Any questions, comments? Yes. Let me just put in my artificial ears. The other ones have kind of shot. Oh.
For many years I've wondered...
One second here. Let me get my amplifier.
For many years I've wondered, Krishna's promise was that he would not take up any weapon.
But it's got to kick in. Just a second. It takes it about 2 seconds to kick in. Yeah. Just putting in my... Okay. Go ahead now. Loud and clear.
For many years I've thought about, that Krishna's promise was that he would not take up any weapon and he would not fight. But he broke that promise. But in another sense, you might say he didn't, because a chariot wheel is not a weapon. No one goes to war armed with chariot wheels. It's a part of a weapon. A chariot is a weapon. And he didn't fight with Kṛṣṇa. Arjuna stopped him. So in one sense he broke his promise, but one might say that in another sense he didn't. I wonder if you could comment on that. Am I just in my own?
Comment on that? Everything. Kṛṣṇa is inconceivable. So, one time I spoke to one professor. He said he showed me something in Prabhupāda's books, and that looked like a contradiction. And I said, well, that's the inconceivable nature of the Lord, professor. And he said, you Gaudiya Vaishnava, every time you see something you can't explain, you say, Achinta Shakti, inconceivable. I said, well, what can we do? I said, can you explain it? Can you explain how the fingernails are growing? They're alive and dead at the same time, or how the hair is growing? Can you explain that? And he said, all right. So, all these things are happening by Krishna's inconceivable abilities. It seems bewildering to us because we're chutya, we're fallen, our vision is limited. We are enclosed in the imprisonment of time and space, and therefore very difficult for us to understand anything. Even to understand this body, we think it's me. So that's my understanding.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. There's just one question in the back here. This one, oh, Hare Krishna. Okay, sorry about that.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So when the heart is hard-hearted and filled with enviousness, animosity, anger, greed, and in such a situations, when we try to perform devotional activities, everything is like a kind of artificial, not real. So in that situations, how can we attract mercy from Kṛṣṇa?
Everything is Krishna's mercy. There's nothing beyond Krishna's mercy. Even war, it's difficult to accept. Sometimes, especially if something very miserable and very apparently unjust happens to us. It's very difficult to accept that this is Krishna's mercy. Because the experiences we may have at the hands of others may be traumatizing. We've seen that. So many types of abuse, domestic abuse, child abuse, all these things. It's impossible under that trauma for someone to see that this is Krishna's mercy. But ultimately it is. And, I've always found in different traumatic experiences, like in some of my years of preaching, I was in places where there's a revolution going on and you're getting, seeing bullets flying over your head, and it's not so easy to just think, oh, this is Krishna's mercy. First thing you think, let me duck, but afterwards, I've always found that however distressful something is, once we understand there's some reason this is happening to me or this has happened to me, even though you may have to go through a long psychological process to get over the mental agony, the psychological disturbance, that may be necessary. But ultimately you have to come to the conclusion that if you want to really go beyond it, that this is all, somehow or another, this happened, bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. This happened because Kṛṣṇa is name bhakta pranashati. Kṛṣṇa never allows his devotee to perish. But at the same time, Kshatriyas cannot think like that. They have to think, I must establish justice. And especially when they see gross injustice, they have to be very strong and powerful to protect the people. That's their duty. But Brahmanas, they try to help people come to the highest vision. Just like here it says sad-dharmān, highest vision. We want to come to that highest vision. But sometimes we have to go through a learning process to get there. But the more we can see that everything is part of Krishna's inconceivable plan, then it becomes easier to get there.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So, due to time constraints, I'll have to stop here, and also time is up, according to... Yes, the little hook comes out. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.